Hi, Betty.
Hi, Mary.
How you doing? Good.
Tony was with the Mafia.
Oh, yeah, I know. They used to call him Joe Pizza.
Oh,
Yeah. He was in with Local 210. He was good friends with this guy called Charlie Chino, and Charles Kachi.
But they all sound familiar, don't they?
Well, you know, he liked to threaten people.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah. Well, so just listen to this. Did you see that the prudential check that I gave you?
Yeah.
And you saw it was signed by Uncle Joe?
Yeah.
Then I showed your signature. Uncle Joe's signature was on that letter when he's telling me to claim my car, otherwise they're going to junk it.
Yeah.
That was in 1985, in October 1985. That's when he threatened me that he was going to blow my head off. But guess what else? Now, me and Uncle Joe got in an argument. Okay? And he was leaving out the door, all right? And he was ready to leave, and then he comes back in. And you know what he tells me? He goes, you know your buddy Tom Martin? And then he takes his thumb, and he points his thumb to his chest, and he puffs out his chest like he's real proud, and he grins from ear to ear, and he goes, all right? He yells, all right? In other words, he's taking responsibility for killing my best friend in 1985.
Why would he kill Tom Martin? Because he was your friend?
Evelyn never told you.
No.
Yeah, I told Evelyn. You know what Evelyn told me?
What?
Evelyn told me that when she was getting a divorce with Dave Tobia, that Uncle Joe told Evelyn, because she was having trouble with Dave, she says, Evelyn, he goes, you want me to take him out? I'll do it. And Evelyn says, no, that's okay, Uncle Joe. You don't have to.
Take my husband out, too. He told me 2 boys.
What?
Yeah, he wants to take my ex-husband out, too. No, Crystal's father. Crystal's father.
Really?
Yeah, he wanted to take him
He offered to take him out?
He told my boys, if they said yes, he would take them out. He would take him out.
All you would have to do is say yes?
Yeah, all they have to do is say yes.
And they would take him out?
Yeah,
It was up to you? Really?
Yeah.
And he was serious?
He was serious. He told them.
Well, she told me that Uncle Joe, like you said, about your ex-husband?
No, Crystal's dad.
Oh, Crystal's dad?
Yeah.
She said when she was having trouble with Dave Tobia, that Uncle Joe offered to rub Dave Tobia out. And Evelyn says, no, that's okay, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I know that. I knew that at the time. He told Evelyn to take Dave out. Evelyn said, no, that's okay. No, don't do this. That's my kid's father.
She did tell you that?
Yeah, she told me that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that. I knew it.
Well, what I think, Betty, is that Uncle Joe, right?
Yeah.
Uncle Sammy got sick, and he blamed me for making Uncle Sammy sick. Because Uncle Sam passed away in January 1984.
Yeah.
And you know how close Uncle Joe was with Uncle Sam.
Yeah. Uncle Sam was the only one listening to him.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam was such a devoted brother that no matter what Joe did, he always had compassion and tried to help him. When Uncle Sammy went, Joey went down all the way. And I said, hey, can you tell me something? I said, does anybody know, or does anybody believe that the outlaw was torched? Did it burn down on the stone? I said, boy, it's awful funny, isn't it? So Mary Bauman calls up Dolly.
Right.
Told Aunt Dolly that I said she torched her place. Uncle Joey did it, you know.
He did?
Oh, he sure did. Him and his Mafia, he sure did.
And guess what else happened to me, Betty? One time my father wanted to go to a drugstore. So I go to the drugstore, in the car, and I'm driving in the car, and we're sitting in the car, and someone walks out of the right side of Uncle Joe's Pizzeria, right? And he's talking to my father, and they're having a conversation, and the guy's holding a pillow, and this was after my friend was shot in his bed, because because somebody walked into him and unloaded a 22 in his head. This guy's holding a pillow in his one arm, and he's making the sign of a gun in the other while he's talking to my father. And you know who he says? He says, I'm a Bolea. It was Anthony Bolea.
You were still in there?
Yeah. And then I find out that he owns all that property.
To give my mother a ride until
He used to live on Stevenson and Bailey, right around the corner. You know, he was in Local 210 too.
Wow, Joey was cousins.
They were real close. They lived right, that's where, you know, his father used to come over and do my mother's draperies. They were in the upholstery business. Yeah. Isn't that something? They wanted me to think the Mafia was after me. They wanted me to stop, you know, my cases. I'm not afraid. But you know, Uncle Joe, he must have had a feeling that, you know, I'm my mother's kid. And if he must have hated me so much because I was taking Aunt Dolly to court. And he blamed me for Uncle Sam getting sick and everything. Because my friend was shot in March 1985. I think, you know, like I said, you know, when he did that to me, he was walking out the door and then he came back in. So he didn't want to, you know, come out and take responsibility for doing that, for killing my friend. But he lost control.
Yeah, he got nothing to remember.
And you know, Joey told me one time that before Uncle Joe passed away, that he came to Joey and he goes, Joe, he goes, I want to give you these guns. I want you to hold on to them. They belong to this Charlie Chino. And one was a 22 with a silencer. And Joey said that he put it in his safe and kept it. And he said that after Uncle Joe died, that this mobster from New York, Charlie Chino's son, claimed him. Because Charlie Chino, I guess, was dying in Florida, and Uncle Joe, as Uncle Joey told me, you know, Uncle Joe respected this guy, you know, so much that he was changing his diapers when he was dying, this Charlie Chino. But then his son's the one that picked up the guns from Joey. And the people that were living upstairs from him, what, Sacco? He was in the Mafia, huh?
They married her sister, Mary.
Yeah, he was in the Mafia.
Yeah, he looked like he was in the Mafia.
I know, they got pictures of him.
You know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it was one big go-around because, Dolly was having a fit. She was sending her brothers after me for trying to help you. Probably old Uncle Joe, number one. Nobody else would come after me, but surely Uncle Joey.